Is First Coast News on your side. We begin with breaking news.
And that breaking news, we're following a fire that broke out at an apartment complex on Jacksonville's Westside. Thank you for joining us for First Coast News at 5. I'm Jessica Clark.
And I'm Rich Donnelly. Dozens of people who live at the Westside apartment complex are now left displaced after a fire. Jacksonville Fire and Rescue crews just finished putting out the fire at Madeline Oaks Apartments. And that's where we find our Christina Burgess. Christina, you were there when fire crews were still putting the fire out. What have you been able to learn recently?
Yeah, guys, that's right. The last few fire units did just leave, but when I arrived here earlier, I could still see and smell the smoke that was rising from the complex right behind me. I could also see lots of displaced residents standing around, along with fire crews actively working to put this fire out. I did have the chance to speak with the PIO with the Jacksonville Fire and Rescue, Captain Crosswimmer, who told me that when crews arrived on scene, smoke was coming from the roof vents of the complex. These are 3-story apartments, and when firefighters went upstairs, they did not notice fires in apartments, but then they went to inspect the ceilings, and that's when they found a fire in the attic space. Captain Crosswimmer says because this was a 2-alarm fire, more units had to get called in for backup, and firefighters were able to stop the fire from spreading across the roof. Now, this building is 24 units. 12 units are now displaced. There is still not an exact number of how many people have been impacted, but the Red Cross is here helping these displaced residents. And before we had to leave the property earlier, I did have the chance to speak with one woman who was holding her dog in her hand, and she told me that she was home at the time that the fire had started, and she heard banging on her door and someone telling her to leave. According to JFRD, they are still working to investigate the cause of this fire, but there are no injuries that have been reported. Reporting live on the West Side, Christina Burgess, First Coast News on your side.